Yo, yo, doing another YouTube live. It's a beautiful day, Saturday afternoon in beautiful South Louisiana, the deep South. It's probably what, about 4:30, Mama? Check it out. The weather's beautiful. Sun's going down. It's 4:30. It's probably what, about 50 degrees outside. About to cook a ribeye. What's up, Mama? You got anything to say? We'll let a few people hop on before we get started. Oh, it's 72? Jesus Christ, it feels like 55, but that's what happens when you live in South Louisiana and you're so used to it being hot.
And you don't feel.
So we gotta wait for a few people to hop on before we start really deep diving what I have to say. This is really important, guys, super important. A lot of people miss this. Me and my wife have been practicing this stuff for how long? Probably, what, 10 years, 12 years. Long time. So got a few people on. When you come on, tell me where you're from. Tell me where you from. Tell me, give me a shout out and tell me your name, all that good stuff. Shit, the bug just flew in my wine. I'll drink it anyway. Anyway, dang, that hotter than Arizona at 53. Love that book, Science of Rich. Detroit, Sonia. Guys, if you're coming on, please share and invite. This is gonna be an awesome. This is my favorite subject of all time. What's up, Billy? That's what, Patty? That's all I talk about, she says. It's true because it has so much deep significance, so much importance. Let's talk about the one fundamental thing that keeps people from being super successful in life. Because information alone is not enough, guys. Information alone is not enough. If you're just coming on, guys, share the stream. This could be a good one. If information were enough when you're trying to learn a new subject, trying to be successful or something, then everybody would be successful. What's up, John? If information alone was enough to make you successful, then everybody would be successful. And there's information everywhere. So why are most people not successful when they get into business, right? I'll tell you why. They don't have the right mindset. And what do I mean by mindset? Mindset can be defined by the way you think, the way you view things, the way you view yourself, right? There's all kind of different definitions of it. Yeah, make sure to like it too, that's right. There's all kind of different definitions, but we're gonna break it down. Like, I'm really gonna break it down for you guys because I want you to understand why most people aren't successful. And that fundamental thing is the way they think about things and themselves and events and circumstances. I get a lot of students, as you know, I have a coaching program. I teach real estate investing, specifically wholesaling, and I watch students come in and out, and lots of them just don't have the right mindset, right? They don't believe they're going to be successful, right? And there's a reason I have them read certain books in a certain order because of that main reason, right? The first book that I have them read, in which we're going to go over all the books I have my students read, the first one is The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Waltz. Phenomenal book. It's super short. Look at that. It's maybe, you can read this book in about an hour, 2 hours, if you're a fast reader. It's really not long at all, and it's so to the point. It's so beautifully crafted. That is probably by far one of my favorite books. It's actually, everybody thinks, that book was written like in 1918. Everybody thinks that this is the original book on mindset, Think and Grow Rich. It's not. The Science of Getting Rich was actually written way before then, and it was copied. Yeah, bam, read that book many times. Awesome. So that book was copied off of that. Think and Grow Rich was copied. I'm sorry, Science of Getting Rich was copied from Napoleon Hill. And obviously he did a lot more homework on it and added to it, because Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich is a lot longer. But just to kind of deep dive this book just for a second, I'm going to go over a few other books besides this one. But this book, right, is all about understanding how things work, guys. I don't care about how to do a business, right? It's how you think about that business that's going to make you successful, right? I can literally line up 100 people and give them the exact same information and know which ones are going to be successful just by their thought patterns of and how they think and how they talk and react to the information I give them. Because unless you know and think you're going to be successful, and that's the key ingredient, thinking, right? you guys aren't thinking enough. Like, you're not daydreaming enough. You're not visualizing your success. Like, you literally have to see it in your mind's eye, right? You literally have to visualize yourself into the future. And everybody does this naturally. That's your God-given gift. Everybody has the power of visualization. Everybody does. I don't care. And you might have not tapped into it yet. You might have not figured out. But that is the secret, guys. Thinking about yourself in the future, doing what you want to do and being successful. You know, how did Henry Ford say it? He says, whether you think you can or you think you can't, either way you're right. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, either way you're right. So there's something about visualization, and you know, I think it's a God-given talent of where we postulate our future. Because guys, if you break it down, everything is energy. Everything is thoughts, right? This house I live in right here, this was a thought before we built it, right? Before we designed it. Everything is a thought. Pool right here is a thought before we built it. My real estate business I created was a thought. It was the causative portion. It was a creation, right? I had to think it up. Too many people are just acting without thinking. Like, you have to have the thinking before the acting. And you have to really, really focus your attention on what's up, Asa? My son just jumped on. So I got my son watching these lives. Take notes, son. Make sure you take notes. You've really got to visualize what you want. And when I say visualize, like, see it in your mind's eye. You have a creative ability. Like, that's the first idea. You have to think it, right? You have to think it and actually see it happening in your mind's eye. So that's the first book that I recommend for my students, The Science of Getting Rich. Please, please, do yourself a favor and pick that book up. It talks about all the things I'm talking about. I'm not going to go into a long dissertation, but it's pretty much, you guys are not daydreaming enough. You're not thinking about what you want. You're not thinking about what you want to happen. You're thinking about what you don't want to happen. And that's what you're creating. That's the problem. See, I only think about, well, I say I struggle. Everybody struggles. I still struggle with thinking about things I don't want to happen, but I try to catch myself. You want to think about only the things that you want to happen, not what you don't want to happen, because either way, you're going to be right, right? And it's weird, if you think about only what you want in a really good positive mood and you're really visualizing what you want, it's the craziest thing. Events, circumstances, happenstances, people, circumstances will just align around what you're trying to do, right? But you have to think about that all the time. You have to think about and visualize and think, right? That's what he talks about in this book. The hardest thing to do in life is to think. It's not to work. Working's easy. Thinking is actually the hardest. But when you think, it sends out a frequency, a vibration into the universe, and it literally molds happenstances, circumstances, people, events to get what you want. I'm not kidding you. That's how it works. I can't tell you how long me and my wife have been doing this. Everything we've ever written down and actually focus on I mean, I dreamed about building this dream home 5 or 6 years ago. I dreamed about, you know, having my own beach house in Destin, another beach house in Orange Beach, Alabama. We've gotten everything. Starting a coaching company and being successful, starting a real estate company, being super successful, having 5 kids, everything, right? So it all came from visualization. And obviously you can't just visualize and then, you know, go sit down and not do anything. You have to act. But if you take the visualization with the act, with the action of it, and it's aligned, it's the craziest thing. Like, things just happen, right? Then the second book I have my students read. Well, let's just talk about this one now. This one kind of ties into The Science of Getting Rich. Read Think and Grow Rich also. Read that one next. That's gonna help your mindset. Another awesome one on mindset. The Magic of Thinking Big. Awesome, awesome book. Now, this one is on mindset, but it's a little bit differently. It's all about you, right, and your belief system. Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. Awesome, awesome book. I've read that book about 3 times. Awesome books, guys. You have to think about it, and you got to know that you're going to be successful. And obviously, you got to act on it, but you have to believe you're going to be successful, because that's really the key formula, is belief, if you can do it or not. Because if you think you can't do it, I promise you, you're right, right? If you think you can't do it, then it's not gonna go right. That's awesome, son. Yeah, that's awesome that you have all those books. Read them 2 or 3 times, guys. Don't just read them one time. I just read The Science of Getting Rich for probably about the 5th time this morning. And I catch something else every time I read it. It's so awesome. You want to read books almost 3, 4, 5 times, especially the classics. So this book is, you know, about the way you think about yourself, right? Your self-image, right? Which is different than what we just talked about with visualization and thinking about postulating yourself into the future and visualizing what you want. You've got to have a healthy self-image about yourself. You've got to know that you got to almost love yourself and know that you're a great person and really, you have awesome song you read over and over again. But this book right here is a classic too. Psycho-Cybernetics, the way you think about yourself. Because the way you think, it's the craziest thing, the way you think about yourself is the way other people are going to think about you, no matter what. So if you're an insecure person, other people are going to think you're insecure. If you're a confident person, other people are going to think you're confident. So you have to understand that what you think about and the way you feel about yourself is going to dictate how other people feel about you. And it's going to really dictate how successful you are. Because if you think you don't deserve it and you don't believe that you're deserving of it, or if you're up to par with what you're doing, then that's what you're going to get. Like, you're going to get whatever you think, right? So now that we kind of talked about mindset, right? So we got those 4 books on mindset: The Science of Getting Rich, Think and Grow Rich, The Magic of Thinking Big, Psycho-Cybernetics. Those are on mindset. Now, is that all there is to being successful? No, hell no. You got to actually do the work, right? Which is my next book I have my students read. The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. The Compound Effect is a phenomenal book. About what? It's all about being consistent, right? And getting momentum. Too many people start something and before they even get any momentum, they quit. You got to understand that's the little small things you do on a daily basis over and over again, consistently over time, that's going to get you some results, right? People just do, like, they'll do something once, twice, 3 times, that, hey, I didn't get no results. No, dude, you need to go do it for like a year, every day, right? Like me, I read every day. Every day. I've been reading since I was 22, religiously. Super religiously, probably the past, what, 5 years, 4 years, Patty? And total game changer, right? But the compound effect is all about creating habits, routines in your life and doing it consistently, day in and day out, like waking up early, reading, working out, getting to work early and staying late, and doing that over time is going to equal big results, right? Awesome book. Another book that ties into the same principles of being consistent, creating daily habits, and really getting ahead of life is what? The Slight Edge. The Slight Edge is a phenomenal book to help you get to the next level. So that's another book I have my students read. The Slight Edge. You know, the Slight Edge is basically, the Compound Effect and the Slight Edge are almost the same book, but just with a different viewpoint and perspective, and it gives you a better perspective when you read both of them, because they both say the same thing but differently. So it's really awesome because it gives you perspective, right? But the Slight Edge is all about getting that slight edge. How do you get that slight edge? Because we all have 24 hours in a day. We all have, we're all human. We only have certain capabilities. But the slight edge is doing just a slight more than everybody else over time, consistently. That puts you above and beyond. Like, I watch people that are super successful, like a Hawk, and I read their books, I watch them. The only difference between those guys and most people is that they just put in the work, right? They take massive action, and they do what they're supposed to do consistently, not just for one day a week, every day, over time, consistently, which makes them super successful, right? And those are great books. So being consistent, right? Consistency and persistence over time equals success. Now, one of my favorites, right? Grant Cardone, the 10X rule. Now, you have to tie in what I just said. First, we talked about mindset. Second, we talked about daily routines, habits, and consistency to get into momentum. Now, you have to have what? 10X action. This is all about action. If you guys hadn't picked that book up, my boy Grant Cardone is a phenomenal book. He talks about, the kind of action you need to take. You have to take over-the-top action, right? Guys, if you're just coming on, give me a like, give me a subscribe, give me a share, give me something, right? Let me know if you like this stuff. So you have to take massive action. So it's not like one thing you're going to do. It's a combination of things you're going to do to be successful. Mindset, right? Visualizing what you want, and the only thinking about what you want, not what you don't want, right? Your belief system about yourself, how you feel about yourself, right? Then consistency, habits over time is going to multiply and get you into momentum, right? Then action, taking more than normal action. He talks about the 3 levels of action, right? no action, normal action, and over the top action. You got to take over the top 10x action. Like if you were mailing, 1,000 postcards a week, then you should probably be mailing 2,000 to 3,000 postcards a week, or whatever you may be doing, right? Or if you're trying to run a marathon and you're trying to be the best and you're only running, 5 miles a day, maybe you should. Another book, The One Thing, right? The One Thing by Gary Keller. Phenomenal book about results, right? Because a lot of people are busy doing all kind of different things, but they're not getting a lot done, because not every action is equal to other actions, right? You may have 1 or 2 things that you do a day that make you the most money, right? Like for me, in my business, what makes me the most money is what? Talking with buyers and sellers, right? With my wholesaling business, in my real estate company, talking with contractors about, getting bids on rehabbing a house, talking with sellers about, with motivated sellers about buying their house, talking with cash buyers who want to buy some of my deals. Go and look at mobile home parks or apartment complexes that I want to buy. The more that I do, the more those are the things that pay me the most, right? Not going and writing letters or, posting on Facebook, or doing things. The 2 most highly paid actions that I can have is the one thing, right? Is talking with buyers and sellers, and that's what the one thing's about. It's about figuring out in your business the one thing, and it goes into more detail. I can't go over a whole book in 5 minutes. I don't want to go into every book so heavily, but read The One Thing. Phenomenal book. I guarantee if you read all those books, guys, I guarantee you, your mindset will be blown away, right? So that book, and then with my students, I have them read too. John Maxwell Growth Conference. I recommend this book to all my students. Been doing it for 2 years now. It's called Everyone Communicates, but Few Connect. It's all about human relations, right? We're all emotional creatures, right? We want to be loved. We want to be cared for. We want to know that we're appreciated. And it's really not what you say, guys, when you're talking to people. It's how you say it, right? The highest paid skill there is out there is knowing how to communicate, and communicate well, right? And I think that's one of the reasons I've looked at a lot of people that are successful in business and real estate. It's the best communicators, right? And that's why I feel like I excel, because I'm a really good communicator. I can sit down and really build rapport and understand a homeowner and get to know them, right? And not just talk to them, right? There's talking and there's talking, right? Because you can talk to people and, they don't mean nothing. It's going through one ear and out the other. And are you a good listener, right? It's kind of what that book talks about. So those are the books right there, pick them up. There's what, just to recap, The Science of Getting Rich, Think and Grow Rich, the Magic of Thinking Big, Psycho-Cybernetics, The Compound Effect, The Slight Edge, The 10X Rule, The One Thing, and Everyone Communicates but Few Connect, right? Read those books. Look at, guys, a lot of you that are watching this probably don't even have money to, you may not have money to hire me as a mentor. Get those books. I mean, you get to, and pick up, oh, by the way, pick up my book, right? The Source of the Deal. That'll help you. That'll help you on the mechanics of how you actually wholesale, right? So you might want to pick that book up too. And if you can't afford that book, it's on Amazon for $14.99. You can get the ebook for $4.99, or you can get a free copy if you go to www.information, and it'll email you a free copy of the book that you can read. That'll show you how to wholesale and get heavily discounted deals that you can do whatever you want with, right? And that's what I recommend everybody starts with, because if you got the wholesaling piece in, the rest of your business goes phenomenal. Chris, have you read The Game of Life and How to Play It? I have not. Is it a good one, Sonia? I'll have to check that one out. I'll get that one. If you recommend it, I'll get it. If you think it's a good read. Don't recommend me a bad book, because I don't like reading, because I'll start reading a book and I'll just stop. Like, it's got to be good. It's got to have a good point. It's got to be something that's going to add value. So, those are the books I recommend, guys. And just understand, but it all goes back to mindset. I would buy it for you. Okay, well, if you're going to buy it for me, then it must be a good book. I'll order it when we get off of here. I appreciate that. Understand that business is business, and how you do a business doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I can literally go do whatever business I do. I can be successful at it. I have that much confidence in myself. I've started a lot of businesses. I've been successful. I've had I had one of the biggest chain of car wash, oil change, and mechanic shops here where I live. I had 4 locations at one time. Made a lot of money. Had a, have a successful real estate business. Have you heard Extreme Ownership and the Economy of Leadership? Edgar, I have read Extreme Ownership. I just finished reading Extreme Ownership not long ago, like maybe 4 weeks. I've read that one already. I've read that one. That was a good one too. Post your questions, guys, while we're talking. But understand, I think the fundamental thing is, guys, it's the esoteric, non-physical stuff about life that's going to make you successful. I know it sounds weird, but it's how you think about things, right? It's how you think about things. I could literally, if I started having bad thoughts right now and I just change my whole thought pattern, my life would just start becoming a wreck. I think people self-sabotage themselves all the time. They think wretched of themselves. They think so down on themselves, and maybe a lot of that's not even their fault. Maybe you're going through that right now. I don't know. A lot of that has to do with your environment and the people you hang around. The people you hang around and building you up, or are they knocking you down or telling you can't do that, or are they invalidating you and kind of hitting you with soft, implicit little remarks that kind of aggravate you, and you don't even know. What's up, mama? Some people do that to you? Okay. So, some people might be telling you things that really, really aggravate you, right? It could be a family member. It's happened to me. I mean, it's happened to me, right? So you have to understand, like, you got to get around the right people. Like, I know this, everybody says this, but it's so true. You are the company you keep. I will start reading and listening to the books. You're right, and the Bible says, as a man thinketh, so he is. 100%. There's a book, John, that I read that talks about that. It's called As a Man Thinketh, right? That book. That's another good book on mindset. As a Man Thinketh. But John said, I will start. Yeah, listen, it's so true. Like, whatever you think happens, guys. And I know it sounds crazy, but that's physics, right? Because your cause, your thought, the first emanation is your thought, which is a vibration and frequency which goes out in the universe, and everything is energy. So then your thought manifests itself in the universe. It doesn't happen like that. It may happen by a strange coincidence. You may think a thought of, hey, I want to start a business, and all of a sudden this person comes in your life that's going to help you start that business, or a weird coincidence happens. How many times has that happened in our life, Patty? Weird, crazy coincidence that could never, we had a better chance of hitting the lottery. I just made a post, guys, not long ago on Facebook, because we're about to build another house soon. We're about to sell this house and build another house. We wanted property in a specific town here where we live in Youngs, a specific piece. My wife's been eyeing, and it's since 2008, and we actually wrote it down on our vision board and told the universe, hey, we want this piece of property. We're looking for acreage in Youngsville. And she told the universe, right? We wrote it down on a paper. I kid you not. The next day, a realtor that saw Patty's post said, hey, the property that you're talking about is actually coming for sale tomorrow, because the investor from New York who has it wants to fire sale it, and he's going to put it on MLS for so cheap that it's going to go quick. So we said, hey, we'll take it. And it was the exact piece we wanted. What's the chances of that? The chances that are...
We didn't even do our due diligence.
We didn't even do our due diligence. We just bought it. Yeah, we just bought it, right. So, that's the crazy things that happen. And then we only wanted like maybe 2 acres, but 15 acres came up. So we bought all of it, right? I bought the back 7.5 acres, and then I brought in a money guy partner to buy the front 7.5, and we're developing in a neighborhood, right? So it appraised for like half of what we bought it for. It appraised for double what we bought it for. And we subdivided the back, sold it, so we got free property. So we're keeping 4.5 acres to build, and now we got free. So not only did our postulate, our visualization come true, we got more than what we even visualized. So we just wanted 2.5 acres. We got 15 acres. I sold off 4.5 acres already, which paid for the property that I'm building on. So I have free and clear property to build on, and in the front property, I'm developing with an investor, with none of my own money. He's putting up all the money because I brought the deal, and we're going to probably make $325,000. And it, plus my wife's gonna list all the properties when it's all said and done. The next 3, 4, 5 months, it'll probably all be done. So I have free and clear property to build my house on, which is valued at about $350,000, $400,000. And then the front piece, once all those pieces sell, we're gonna develop the neighborhood and just sell off the pieces to builders. We're gonna probably make another $300 to $325 on that. Plus my wife's gonna get all the listings on the property. And so we could take that property, I mean, that money and just dump it into our new house or put it in another deal. So it's just crazy, right? What's the chances of that, guys? That's all from what? Having the thought that that's what we want, writing it down as a goal and speaking it, right? You have to have, you really have to, bam, great job, mama. Somebody said, yeah, that's right, Sonia. So, it's funny how things work out, it really is. And it'll work out in the strangest way. You really get what you want, right? But you also get what you don't want too. Because if you think about what you don't want long enough, you'll get that also. So any questions, guys? Let me know if you just think I'm crazy, full of shit, hocus pocus, on drugs, all that good stuff.
Talk about how hard it is to think about thinking.
Think about thinking? Yeah, it is hard to think about thinking.
You have to stop yourself in your battle.
You really got to control your thought process, guys. You got to think. I tell my students all this, you got to think about thinking. It's almost a drill, and you have to practice it. Like, you have to drill, like you have to stop and slow your body down. Like, I do my best thinking about thinking in the mornings while I'm drinking my coffee early in the morning, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm Big Mom, I'm up with the roosters, drinking my coffee and reading religiously. Like, it's a religion to me. It is. Like, if I don't do it, like if I don't do it, well, I get pretty aggravated, huh? Pissy. If I can't read my books in the morning, it's not. I'm not a happy camper. Like, it's become so ingrained in me that if I don't do it, it breaks my routine. And same thing with exercising, right? I don't do it for muscles. I do it for the way it makes me feel, because I want to feel good. When I feel good, I have good thoughts. When I have good thoughts, I have good luck. When I have good luck, shit just happens right for me. And it all starts from what? The cause point, the central point, which is what? Thoughts. Your creation system, right? You're constantly thinking thoughts, and which goes out. So understand that. Control what you think about. Visualize what you want, not what you don't want. Push out what you don't want, and catch yourself. And when you do have a negative thought, push that shit out and catch yourself, and have like I literally catch myself, like, I shouldn't be thinking that. Because listen, everybody's gonna have a bad thought. Like, everybody gets down on themselves, but it's just it's the conscience, like, awareness that you're doing that, and then you check yourself and, like, okay, I have to knock that shit off, and then visualize back to what you really want. And obviously, like I said, you can't just visualize your life into a complete utopian, environment. Like, you got to take action. Obviously, that's why I talked about what you start with: the mindset, visualization, your belief systems about yourself, consistency, habits that are pro survival, that are helping you do, like, the good habit of eating right, reading, waking up earlier, going to work earlier, going to working later, taking 10x action. Like, all these things go hand in glove. Like, it's a combination of things. It's not one thing, right? So understand that it ain't easy, guys. It ain't easy. Like, I do well, and I'm still trying to, like, take us to the next level. I don't care how well you do. If you guys become billionaires one day or worth $100 million, you're always gonna try to, hey, what can I do to take that to the next level? Like, I don't think you'll ever be, like, satisfied. And maybe you will be, but the point is to try to live up to your full potential. That's the whole point. You want to live up to your full potential before you kick the bucket. And I think that's my greatest fear, and a lot of people's fear, is that, not living up to your potential. You want to do everything you can possibly do on your time on this planet to try to live up to your potential. And the way you can do that is upgrading your software, right? This is your software, right? Upgrading your software by doing what? Look, those books right there. This is gonna upgrade your software. This is gonna make you a better person. And hanging around the right people. In masterminds, yeah, like getting around the right people, going to masterminds. Come to my event at Skillathon, right? I'm having a mastermind in 2 weeks. We've got 15 high-level guys come and speak, but getting around the right people. I spend so much money on myself and masterminds, bettering myself, seminars, books, just everything. I'm always trying to become a better version of myself. And I think as you work on yourself, your life naturally becomes better. I mean, just because your thought process becomes better, and you start thinking better thoughts, and you start hanging around the right people, the right circumstances, you have better luck. Luck is not something that happens. Luck is the product of your thoughts and what you're doing in life. If you're doing the right thing, you're going to be lucky. It's as simple as that. The people that have the best luck are just the people that are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they're thinking the right thoughts, and they're doing the right actions. So understand that. Give me some thumbs up. Give me some shares, some likes. Any questions you guys want to talk about? Post a link to what, Mama Skeleton? Yeah, I have to post a link on Skeleton. You have YouTube going? No, you don't have YouTube? I can't post it while I'm talking, but
We'll post it after.
yeah, we'll post it afterwards. But look, guys, if you want to learn about wholesaling, this is kind of this is high level stuff that I'm talking to you guys about. This kind of stuff I talk about in my coaching calls. Like, this is literally the meat and potatoes of my coaching calls. Like, we go over some high level stuff. If you're interested in getting in my program, it's not for everybody. You know, you gotta really want to do it, right? You gotta invest in yourself. Go to chrisrood.com, book a call with me. I've got a lot of successful students, you know, that are doing really, really well. I understand that it ain't easy, but it's worth it if you step into it, if you make it work out, right? And you become successful doing this. Like, it's a game changer. Like, it'll literally change your life. So go to chrisrood.com, book a call, inbox me on Facebook Messenger, do one or the other, and let's get on a call. Let's see if I can help you. Big Mama, you got anything to say?
Come to Skeleton. It's gonna be so fun. We'll post the links and comments, and I'll give you a discount code. You'll 30 to get a discount.
Cool. Anyway, it's pretty hot, huh? I'm having 5 kids, so. you were hotter a long time ago, huh?
5 kids ago.
Got to roll. I'll check you out on the flip side. Hey, appreciate it, Sonia. Good talking to you. I'm gonna check out that book, by the way. Anyway, guys, hope you I hope that makes sense. And get those books and read them. Read them 2 or 3 times, and I guarantee it'll change your mindset, change your perspective, and it'll help you. So, all right, guys, y'all have a good night and do good. Peace.